I think you should hear this.
I think there's so much power in sharing your story. People always think it's only them, right? They're like, no one will understand me. And then when you hear someone else's story, oh, yeah, same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you feel seen.
yeah, exactly. So I'd love to get into that with you. And yeah, we'll definitely touch on like even like the story you posted the other day. I would love to chat about Joe Dispenza. I'd love to chat about your podcast, all of that sort of thing.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, I guess to start at the very beginning, I've always somewhat been open as a kid. Obviously, I don't remember this. This is like what my mum has told me. But mum said I had an imaginary friend called Spider, which I've found out who that was later in life, which I'll go back to. But mum said I'd talk to the walls, talk to Spider, and if she didn't let me do something, I'd be like, Spider's mum would let me, and just like weird and creepy. Like that would scare me if my kid was doing that. And then she said she'd introduce me as like Sarah Louise, and I'd say, no, my name is Nicola. So I don't know if that was like past life carrying forward, or I was just different. And I think then that kind of got shut off, like as going to school and you get told like things aren't real, and then you just get thrown into the school system, and that kind of shut off for me. And then when I got to my teens, I started getting like really bad anxiety because I would feel everything so extremely. I would walk into my classroom and feel angry, sad, depressed, happy, like everything at once. And it was getting super overwhelming. So I started having like panic attacks. Was just like a daily thing for me. And then I went on the pill, which really messed me up. Then I had like depression. Yeah, on top of that. And then I started realizing that I could like physically feel people's pain. And that started with my mum. I'd be at school and say my left knee would just start hurting. And I would text my mum, like, what happened to your left knee? And she's like, how do you know? Like, I just had fallen over. So I had thought it was just mum, and then I started realizing it was anyone that I was really, really close with, that I could physically feel their pain and their emotions as well. And I went off the pill, which was great. And then the depression left, but I was still had anxiety. So when I got to about 18, then I started meditating because of the anxiety. So when I started, it wasn't for any sort of spiritual reason. It was just purely so that I would feel better.
Did one prompt you to start meditating, or is that something that you...
I think my mum told me to. I think my mum did it for similar reasons, for anxiety. And she was like, this helps me. Why don't you give this a go? So, I started meditating quite young. But then one day I was meditating and I astral projected. Do you know what that is? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
but you can explain it though for those.
Yeah. So for people listening, astral projecting is our soul is technically not our body. So when you can meditate really well to a point where my soul would leave my body and I would look down on myself in bed. And the first time it happened to me, it felt like my whole body lifted and I was just looking down on myself. But I thought of every scary movie you've ever seen where like the body lifts. And I was like, oh my God, I'm getting possessed. This is so scary. So then I just stopped meditating for a while after that. I kind of got scared of it because I didn't know what was happening. And then when I got to 18, I had my first ghost experience. I was in bed and I don't know what was going on, but I was struggling at the time. And my mum's always done this to my hair as like a comfort thing. And I was in bed and my hair started like moving and it felt really nice. Like it felt like my mum or something comforting. But then I realized no one was in my room. So I was like, go away. And I could physically like feel someone leave my bedroom. And so I run down to like mum and dad, like freaking out. I was like, I know I sound crazy, but there was like a ghost in my room and it like patted my head. And mum just sat up and was like, yeah, sometimes that stuff happens to me too. And I was like, what is this genetics? Like, what do you mean?
So was your mum spiritually inclined then? Because she's meditating. This has happened. She knew something was up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mum is one of 10 girls. We're Irish, so big Irish family. But I would say like all of us have had experiences. I'm probably the only one that has like took it into like a work,
Mm.
like really gone with it, but everyone's had some sort of like experiences throughout their life. So it definitely seems to run in the family. Um, so yeah, that just like freaked me out, and I told it to never come back. And it listened. So mum was like, it has to be a good thing, because if it was a bad thing, it would keep, you know, like harassing you, like it's left you alone when you've asked it to. So that made me feel better about it, but I was just like shut off to the idea of anything outside of ourselves. So then yeah, once I left school, I got into alcohol and drugs, I think because I felt everything so severely. If I was in a social situation, everything just felt so much that when I would drink, like especially alcohol, I wouldn't feel anything. Like I would just feel happy. I guess it was a form of numbing for me. But then it would get to say Monday and I would be so anxious. Some days I wouldn't leave my bed. I had like the worst anxiety. And then it would get to Wednesday and I'd be excited for the weekend and do it all over again. And that was like, a phase for a very, very long time.
I think that's a normal Australian youth experience.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah,
definitely relate with that. Yeah.
definitely. It shouldn't be normal, but it
Yeah.
definitely is quite normalized. And with that, like when I would drink, I'd black out pretty much every single time. But like people wouldn't know that was blacked out drunk because I would seem normal. But the next day, people would message me like, "Oh my god, you were so funny! It was so nice to meet you." I'm like, I don't even know who you are. So it was quite scary. I would wake up scared, like I don't know how I got home. So that wasn't like a nice feeling at all. And I'm a very 0 to 100 person, so I couldn't just have a few drinks. It was always like an extreme thing.
Yeah. I'm feeling a mirror here.
And I think having a 0 to 100 personality can be really, really good when it's used in the right way. When I commit to something, I fully commit. But if I commit to drinking or doing drugs, I also fully commit. So it just has to be directed to the right thing.
Mm.
So yeah, that was a phase for a while. And then I started having visions just like come on. It would be really random. I remember going to a festival with my friends and I had forgotten my sunglasses. And I just had this vision of me like finding sunglasses in the dirt, putting them on my face. And my boyfriend at the time like looked back and he said, "They look amazing on you." And it was just something that like kind of came in and out. And I was like, okay. And then literally like 2 hours later, I found sunglasses in the dirt. I put them on my face. He turned around, said, "They look amazing on you." And I was like, what the hell? And then things like that just like kept happening, but I couldn't control it. And it was just like really random things that, it feels like it's just your brain thinking. And because I had such high anxiety, I couldn't tell the difference between what was a vision and what was anxiety. So that was happening. And then it started happening with my dreams where I'd have dreams that would come true the next day. There was one day I had a dream where I my car broke down on the highway and my car petrol is on the left, but in my dream it was on the right. And I walked down to get a jerry can and I was really stressed. And then I like called my friend like crying in my dream. And then the next day I woke up and I was like, that was weird, left it. And it probably got to 2 o'clock and all of a sudden I got like really bad anxiety and got stressed. And my friend called me and she said, "Oh my God, I'm on the side of the highway. Like my car's just broke down. I'm walking to get a jerry can." And I was like, I dreamt about this last night. So yeah, things like that just like kept happening, but I was still very much in the party scene. So it would happen and then I'd kind of ignore most of it. And then I had sleeping issues with insomnia pretty much from 16 when I developed anxiety. And by now, like if we get to say COVID time, my insomnia was so bad I wasn't sleeping for about like 3 days. So yeah, that was making me like mentally unwell. And then it was getting to the point where when we went into lockdown, I was going to sleep and I started seeing like dark figures in my room when I would sleep. And it was obviously scaring the shit out of me. And I was like, if I tell someone, I'm going to get like locked up in a mental institution. And I ended up saying to mum, like, I think I need to see a therapist. And I think I eventually told her, and she was like, can you draw what you're seeing? I was like, nah. Because I was like, you're going to think I'm crazy. I already feel crazy. I was Googling schizophrenia. I just like didn't know what was happening.
Mm.
And they ended up putting me on benzos, which are like quite addictive. And I already had an addictive personality. And I remember like looking them up, being like, you've just like popped me on these things, and these are extremely addictive. So I was on them for about 3 months. Yeah, 3 months, and I was just really numb during that period. But it was also with COVID, I have always like been around friends so much and kept myself occupied. And my mum's a nurse, so she was a Nazi in lockdown. I wasn't allowed to do anything, see anyone. It was
Yeah.
a lot. And my whole family were essential workers. So I was by myself a lot, which was actually, I feel like looking back, a really good thing, because I'd always distracted myself and all of a sudden I couldn't distract myself anymore. So I like had to sit with my emotions. I couldn't just go drink or do drugs and run from anything. I really had to sit with everything. And I ended up buying angel cards, and the angel cards I got, I don't know what drew me to get them, but I shuffled them and the first card that came out was intuition. And I did that the next day and the same card came out. And then it got to the point where I'd lay them all on the floor and I could pick what card was what. So I was
Mm.
like, okay, this is like I have something here, but still like very unsure. So I started meditating again. And my psychologist at the time said, I feel like you need to create like an OCD ritual around bed just to change because they diagnosed me with like a fear of sleep, hallucinations before bed, all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And so I would put my light on blue. I would put my door to a certain degree. I would meditate and then manifest. I like made a manifest board where I'd just like look at all the images that I wanted to feel, journal, and then I'd go to bed. And that started to work. Like I started to actually sleep properly. And then I would like slowly wean out some of the OCD rituals. So like OCD is obviously not like necessarily like a great thing, but it definitely like helped me at that point. And then I think when we started to like open up again, where we had that like little short period where we opened up for, I don't know, it was like a month or something.
Mm.
I was driving to work and I'm pretty sure I was crying. Like I was just very confused and lost. And I just said out loud, like, universe, like, help me. I don't know what I'm doing. And my first client, which I had a lash business, had booked online that morning, and she came in and she was a psychic medium. And I started telling her all these things that were happening to me, and that I was seeing things before bed. And she was like, "Oh yeah, you're a healer. You're having all these dark energies that need help. They're all coming to you for help." And I was like, "I don't know how to help them." And she was like, "You're seeing spirits that want to be crossed over, and I'll teach you how to cross them over." So she really helped me, and it also made me think, oh, I'm not schizophrenic, or I'm not going crazy. Like someone's actually here telling me like what I'm seeing is actually real. And then sorry, yeah.
Do you think that also, like, how do I say this? Like, schizophrenic people see things that aren't there. Do you think they actually just see like they're like have one foot in one dimension and one foot in another, and they can't differentiate?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I think is what was happening to me is my third eye and my crown, which is like your top chakras, were really, really open, but I was really unsafe and grounded. So I was just open to everything.
Mm.
So when you open your energy field up, you're open to good and bad. And because I was not protected, I was just seeing all this negative things and yeah, just so unprotected. So I think people that are schizophrenic, they're just way too open and not grounded or safe in your body. And when people come see me and they say, I want to be spiritual, like I want to open my third eye, I'm like, no, let's do the groundwork. Let's make you feel safe in your body. Let's like heal your trauma and make sure you really like and know yourself first. And then let's open you up to spirit guides, astral projecting, all of those things. But I did it the way that I would advise people not to. But that was my journey. But I would always advise people to start from the groundwork and then open up. And once you're like grounded, you understand the information that's coming through instead of it just being like
Yeah.
chaotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you be able to process information if you're dysregulated? It's like trying to multitask when you're stressed out. Something's going to be, you're going to make mistakes somewhere. You're not going to be able to comprehend what's going on. Yeah.
Definitely. And I think as well, then like at the time, I didn't know what was anxiety and what was intuition. So if you're not feeling safe in your body, like you're not going to know what's what. So yeah, this lady then told me about Reiki, and she's like, you should go see this Reiki healer. I think it will be really helpful to you. And then I walked in to see this Reiki healer, and she looked at me and she was like, oh my God, you're amazing. You're going to be this amazing healer, and you're so talented. You're going to be like amazing. And I was just like, what do you mean? I'm so fucked up. I was just really confused. And she was like, one day you're going to help heal me. Like you're going to do work on me. And yeah, at the time, I just like couldn't see what she was seeing. I was really shocked at that. Um, and then, yeah, we worked on helping myself ground, and then I started sleeping better. So I weaned myself off the benzos, and my vibration then just started to lift. So I would go to bed and I would still see things, but I was seeing angels and past loved ones, and I was seeing all things that made me feel really good. It was like that whole frequency shifted, which, yeah, was amazing. And then once I ended up doing my Reiki 1 and 2. And then not long after that, I did my Reiki masters. And then I tried somatic breath work. And the first time I did somatic breath work, I remember asking the girl, did you give me acid? Like, I'm sure you would have done it. And like, I was like seeing colors, and it was just such a extraordinary feeling that I was like, how did I do that sober? And it blew my mind. I was like, why do people even do drugs when you can experience something like that's actually good for you and makes you feel euphoric and you're just breathing? So I
Crazy.
was, blown away from that. And I knew like from that moment I had to go learn breath work. So I ended up doing my course with Tim Morrison,
Yeah.
which was
You do it with Brie and Charlotte?
yeah, that's how I like connected with them, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, did that, which was a week in person. And every single day we would receive and facilitate. And I remember every day I was like, there's nothing more that could come out of me. Like, surely not. And every day it would just get deeper and deeper. And it would be, me at 3 or something to do with mom or dad. And there was so much, like, it's just kind of never ending. But I just felt like that week, like I healed and like learned so much about myself. And then after that, I just didn't even see a point in like the party scene. It just didn't interest me anymore. So
Mm.
I like found something that really lit me up. And when I started doing it for work, it I feel like most people that are in that party scene, it's like they don't like their Monday to Friday, and that's their happiness on the weekend. And that's where I was at for a long time. So then when I actually really liked my job, I was like, I don't want to be hungover and not do my job well because I love my job. So I just didn't need to escape anymore. And I think as well, for someone who was so open to energies and always feeling other people's emotions, when I actually learnt to sit with them, I didn't need to numb that either, which was
Yeah.
super amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same for me going sober. I was not living a fulfilled life. My only times of enjoyment was out partying because you were connecting with people and sharing experiences with them.
Mm.
But then my life got better, and I realized that the negatives from drinking and partying outweighed the positives because I found fulfillment and a purpose. So I didn't need to go and get out of my mind and black out on the weekend for fun because it actually, I spent more time feeling anxious
Yeah.
than I did feeling good. And I like, all right, and now I have a purpose. And I, through breath work and through community and making proper connections with people that are in alignment with me, that I didn't need
Mm.
to be drunk to enjoy their company. Now I just
Yeah,
don't
definitely.
get drunk in general. And I also feel better in my body and within myself that I can go to a place that I don't have to avoid the discomfort. I can sit in the discomfort and go, no, I just know these people aren't for me. I
Mm.
can still be sober, but just understand that rather than go, oh, I feel out of place here. I'm just going to get fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely relate. Yeah. And I think, yeah, after that, I ended up like moving out and I said to the universe, give me something to protect my energy and protect my home because I wanted to do Reiki from the house. And me and mum were like driving to go buy furniture and we drove past a pet store and mum was like, let's just go in there. And I was like, okay, like let's get dog food for our dog. And I've never liked cats at all. And I walked in and there was this black cat, green eyes, just my whole body like lit up. And I was like, he is my cat. I don't know what it is, but I have to buy him. And I said that to mum and I went up to him and we were just like acting like best friends, like we knew each other. And I said to the lady, like, where's he from? What's his name? And she said, he got dropped here this morning. We don't know where he came from. And his name is Spider. And me and mum just looked at each other because that was my imaginary friend when I was a kid. So we were like, what the fuck? And I was like, I literally asked for something to come in yesterday. So I took him home. And then that night, when I was asleep, I woke up to him with his paw patting my head and moving my hair. And like that was what happened to me when I was 18. Uh, yeah, so I feel like he's always been protecting me on the other side. And then I've manifested or been open to allowing for him to come in physically. And since he's been with me, I don't really have nightmares. Like I feel really protected. If I have a client, he walks around the room when the client leaves and like cleanses the space. So I feel like Sabrina the Witch.
I was going to say, I was expecting you to say Salem was the name, but yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I want to backtrack a little bit to the
Mm,
breathwork stuff.
yes.
Yeah, it does bring up a lot and it can, um, provide clarity
Mm,
for why you're feeling stuck or holding on to certain things and allows you to let go. What was something huge for you that it brought up that you're like, oh wow, I don't remember this, I hadn't processed this? Because for a lot of people that listen to this, they've probably never done a breathwork journey. And honestly, for
mhm,
me, I've done a few, nothing ever. Like I just lie there and I'm breathing and I get the tetany and that sort of thing.
mm,
And I've spoken at length with people about this, and I feel like there's something that's protecting me from, like, I'm stopping myself from fully letting go. Um,
yeah. That makes me want to do it on you.
you can ask free. I tried it, and I'm just like, I'm so in my head that I'm intellectualizing
Yeah.
the experience.
Mm,
Struggle with allowing myself to feel. So,
yeah.
but for those that are interested in breath work, some of the things that can come up, I'd
I
love for
just
you to.
think I learned so much about myself. Like I always had this belief that people abandoned me. Like I was like, boyfriends abandoned me, my friends abandoned me. And I just felt like I had this, yeah, really strong belief that that I'm abandoned. And then once I did breath work, pretty much for the first time I did it, I realized that I was abandoning myself in every relationship that I ever had. I'd always become them or be like a chameleon and try and make people like me constantly and avoiding such like a big part of myself and who I really was, that I was like, people aren't abandoning me. It's my perspective of my life because I'm constantly doing it to myself. So once I kind of put things back on me, I've like never felt abandoned since.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like such a big realization. that has like helped and changed my life.
Crazy. I was having this conversation literally on Monday night, and I was saying, ask the question, why do we always recreate the same relationship partner or like trauma we faced as a kid? We
Mm.
recreate it in our adult lives, and whether like, we can think of examples. You always find this, and I said to women, like I made the example, we were like, why do I always pick the wrong guy? And it's the same person. But until you learn that lesson, it's going to keep coming up for you. So that was like you breaking the cycle with that experience,
Mhm.
right?
Definitely. And I think as well, like, I always dated people with some sort of like addiction issue. And I was like, why? Why does this keep happening? Why do I keep like dating addicts that are like choosing whatever it was like over me? And then no one like was upset about my addiction because I was hanging out with other people that were doing the same thing. But like my addiction to escaping was constantly hurting myself. So I was like, I'm dating people with a reflection of me. Instead of just yelling at them like it's their problem, it was like time to like look at myself and see like why I'm attracting these wounds or dating similar people. So it just made me like, once I started looking inwards instead of just outwards all the time, I guess I really started to like understand my life and why things were the way that they were, and then it gave me like control over how I can do things differently as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I was having a conversation with someone Saturday night about that. Like there's some things, in a relationship, in a friendship that aren't your fault. But if you really want to get deeper, it's still your fault because you've
Yeah.
chosen it. You need to take extreme ownership for everything that happens in your life, whether it's
Mm,
you get fired for a reason out of your control. You've
mm,
still put yourself in that position for it to happen, and you just got to take it on board, and that way you take the power back as well.
definitely. And I think it's also like, once I started doing Reiki clients, I've had people come in that have insomnia, or they're like, I'm going insane and I'm seeing things, or they've had like, previous things in their life or struggles that I've gone through. And then it like brings me so much purpose, or I'm like, now I understand why I had to go through all the things that I went through, because now I have all this wisdom that I can help these people and they know that I've got through it. So now when things happen to me, sometimes you can't see it in that moment, and that's just how things are. But I always ask myself, what is this teaching me right now? The universe isn't against me. I'm not being punished. What am I learning in this moment?
Yeah. Why is this happening for me? Not to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you started by practicing somatic breath work, then you moved into the facilitation space. What was it like telling your family that you're going to go from like you're just doing a lash business, which is relatively normal, to I'm going to
Mhm.
do like healing work? And family, friends, like there's obviously a lot of judgment being in the space. How do you go
Yeah.
manage?
My mum's always been quite open spiritually, so she I think she was a bit afraid at first, because I think she's always been spiritual, but she's had things that have scared her, and so she's just shut off. So when I first started doing it, I think she was a bit nervous. And I think I've realized anyone that I've talked to in the spiritual space that has done really, really well has had some sort of like being spiritual attacked in some way. And so that was me years ago, like seeing dark spirits in my room, or you get scared. And then once you kind of push past that and know that you're stronger than anything that's of a low frequency, then you like step into that place where you can actually help people. But I feel like mum kind of didn't get past that point. So she kind of just shut off from her spiritual gifts. So I think at first she was just a bit worried about what I might let into my life, opening myself up in that way. My dad just made jokes about it. He'd be like, are you going to go ride your broomstick? And, it was all just like funny, but that's kind of how we are. But then I think over time, and once they saw how my life was like transforming and how much happier I was, now my mum's done her Reiki. She's done breath work. She absolutely loves it.
Mm.
So her like she's so proud of me, which is really nice. She comes to my events, and yeah, she's amazing. When I did my podcast, she would like be the first person to listen to every episode. And yeah, that's been beautiful. My dad's like come around. He's really proud of me. And I think he knows that I'm happy and that's all that matters to him. He doesn't understand it at all. And like, that's cool. You don't need to. But yeah, family, mum's side are really open spiritually. So they're like really impressed. They'll always ask me like lots of questions, and that dad's side, not so much. Like, they'll just like find it funny. I went to Ireland a couple months ago, and my little cousin, who's 8 years old, he was like bullying everyone jokingly. And then he said, Sarah, just go talk to some ghosts or something. And I was like, I just got roasted by an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
But no, they're pretty good. Yeah.
Why do you
What
think
about your
people resist things they can't understand so much?
I think it's fear, and it's easier to live in like your little bubble
Mm.
as well. And I think like the greatest tool I've learned over the last few years is to constantly learn and unlearn. So like I think I know something, but always be open to like listening to everyone else. And then I'm like, okay, listen to you. Yes, that resonates. I'll take that on. Or yeah, I'm gonna listen. Nah, that doesn't feel right in my body. That's a no for me. And it's just like
Nice.
being like open all the time, and then just feeling into what's right and wrong. And I think especially over the last few years, there's obviously been like a lot of bullshit everywhere. And it's really important to like listen to your intuition and feel in like, does this feel right for me? And like, that's only going to get worse with AI and all of that. So it's so important to listen to your body and yeah, what is true to you.
Yeah, I was having, again, like it keeps coming up, the conversation on Monday about integrity versus ego, and it's
Mm.
basically stubbornness at that point, because you can have your values and beliefs, and you can say that you're staying within your integrity to your values, but if you don't have the willingness to learn and unlearn and admit that you may be wrong, and like look back and
Mhm.
go, oh, yep, oh, that was in alignment with my values, but now I see that's wrong. And you say, like, you keep holding on to that as integrity, then that's actually just ego and stubbornness.
Mhm.
Because at the
Definitely.
time, it would be right and true for you. But if you don't have, yeah, I don't know what the right word is, but if you're not able to admit that you're wrong and look back, then it's not integrity. It's completely egoical.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's part of
definitely.
being in space. So often we're being proven wrong, or yeah, but that's good. That's part of the learning.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
definitely.
have a question. It's like pressing because all that stuff
Yeah.
happened during COVID, which was like a massive time for me too. I had the same thing, like lockdown. I had insomnia. Closed my eyes, was
Mm.
seeing things that were like not good. Um,
Mhm.
I think that's also like what I was being exposed to online. Like
Mm.
you have a bit of an awakening. You realize that the world isn't what you thought it was. Did you take? I'm
No.
interested. No. Yeah, I knew you didn't. I just
Um,
had to ask. I just had to ask. I was like, oh,
so
I
yeah,
don't know.
with that, I just had a feeling that I shouldn't. I've had like lots of allergies through my life. I've had multiple health issues. I've had reactions to vaccines in the past. So I've always literally from my whole life had panic attacks every time I get a vaccine. Like, so something in my body's never liked them. Um, and I just like, yeah, I had this feeling like if we're getting forced to do it, it can't be the right thing. And then I was meditating on it because my mum's a nurse. So my mum was like, you have to get it. If you don't get it, you're going to die. She was
Yeah,
very like, really wanted me to get it. So I meditated on it. And this was the first time that I'd ever seen my daughter, but I saw my unborn daughter. Um, and she looked at me and she said, Mummy, don't get it. And I just like burst into tears. And it just felt so real. And I was like, okay, like that's my answer. And then I would have like, I had a dream where I got it and regretted it really badly. And then, yeah, I had a group of friends that I was friends with for many years, like a really beautiful group of friends, and they all got it and started leaving me out because I didn't get it, or they'd be like, say, like, you've got to do this for the community, you've got to do this, this is the right thing to do. And yeah, I didn't end up getting it. And that was really, really hard. And, I had like friends say, it was selfish because like we've had to do it. And it's like, it's not selfish. I'm risking losing my job. My family are mad at me. My friends aren't talking to me. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. I'm not being selfish. um, and yeah, I feel like looking back, I'm like, I can do anything with any sort of pressure because I had so much pressure on me and I said no. And I 100% believe I made the right decision there. And my partner, he got it, ended up in hospital for a few days and is still working on health issues due to getting it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I experienced so many friends getting it and then had issues, 10 plus, go to
Mhm.
hospital. And yeah, same thing. With every fiber of my being, I was like, don't do it.
Mm.
And also was thinking ahead of having kids, something I'm like
Mm.
excited to do down the track. And I was like, no, I can't risk that. I was like, nah, not happening. But I
Mhm.
do have another question based off what you just said, because for me, it's something I think about is that my dating pool has shrunk immensely, but your partner took it. So was there a conversation around that?
But
I know.
my partner, we've known each other for 5 years. So we were actually friends at the time.
Mm,
And I remember saying it to him and he didn't want to get it, but got it. And now when we talk about it, he's upset with himself and he's like, I'll never go against my intuition again because
mm,
he, yeah, didn't want to get it. And now, he's working with naturopaths, Chinese medicine doctors. It's definitely a journey, but also I feel like everything hard that you ever go through, like you learn wisdom from.
mm,
And he knows every single thing about hormones, gut health. Like he knows everything, and he's a tradie, and I feel like he'll end up doing something with gut health. And I feel like this is something that he's had to go through to now have all this wisdom and information. And I really wanted someone who was uh, had the same values as I did on vaccines for when I have kids. And I'm like, well, I definitely have that because
true.
he's done
He's
his
learned the hard
research.
way. Yeah, yeah. I,
Yeah. So it's
I like,
definitely been a hard lesson, but I think he's developed so much wisdom through this really hard experience.
that's a good perspective. I hadn't looked at it that way because I have a few friends that are in regret, and that's fair. Not many of them have taken it to the point of actually learning from it and
Mm.
educating themselves, that sort of thing. I definitely have friends that have become more aware due to realizing shit that wasn't good for me. But it's awesome to hear that he's educated himself, especially like as a tradie.
Mm.
Because the general lifestyle isn't the healthiest. So if something's going to prompt you to better yourself, then I guess it's a positive, a net positive, not, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think, and I think for him as well, like I did a healing on him recently, and I just felt like if he hadn't have done it, I think his path would have been so differently. And he doesn't really like being a tradie. So I'm like,
Mm.
well, this is like opening you up to a whole new doorway. And if I didn't have like 7 years of insomnia and panic attacks every day and all of this, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So I'm like grateful for that experience, even though it was really, really hard. But also now having these like tools like meditation, Reiki, breath work, you're always going to have like shit life experiences, and that's just life. Like you're always going to have challenges, but I know no matter what I go through now, I have tools and community to fall back on, that it's never going to be as dark as it was,
Mm.
a few years back.
Yeah. Yeah. I say the same thing. Like COVID was the best thing that ever happened to me because it woke me up. So I learned so much from that time, as hard as it was being isolated from everyone. It also made me go sober for months and months. And that was a really good thing for me. So, if that's the price I had to pay was, then I'm grateful for it.
Mm.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Mm.
So let's get into the podcast because I've listened to a few episodes and I really enjoy the things that you and Brennan talk about and
Oh,
what birthed that, even like your friendship with him and yeah, what inspired it, what made you need to bring it to the people.
So Brendan was actually my osteopath, but we would go to a mediumship class together. So he's also like very intuitive and he's amazing. When he does osteopath on you, like I had been seeing osteopaths for my back for years and years. And they'd say, you have like one of the worst backs I've ever seen. And when I worked with him, he would be like, oh, there's an emotion in your back. Like you've got fear in your back. And so he would do the adjustment, but also work through the emotion of the pain that was in my body. And when I did Reiki, we learned that dis-ease in our emotion creates disease in our body. So now when I have like body pain, I'm like, oh, I've got a sore shoulder. Could that be an emotional reason? And I look at it more from that point of view than I just woke up with a bad shoulder. So once I started seeing him, I didn't need to see him anymore because like he would actually solve the issue and I didn't need to keep coming back. So yeah, we just like built a friendship through that. And he actually asked me to do the podcast with him, which yeah, was a great opportunity. But yeah, we have like so many weird connections. We have the same birthday. We got our human design chart read and we had the same life purpose based off that, which yeah, we're definitely destined to be friends, which is really cool.
That's awesome. Very rarely you actually meet someone and then become friends with them with the same birthday.
Yeah.
I know one person and I haven't seen him for over 10 years. Like,
Yeah, well.
yeah. So crazy. Yeah. So it's called Turn Up the Frequency. So have you been recording lately? I haven't seen you post much about it.
No, honestly, this year I had the energy of this year was the year of the snake, which is shedding of old layers and rebirthing new layers. So that has been like a transition for pretty much everyone this year. And I definitely like went through the ringer this year of just so many life changes. And I also had so much on, like I ran 3 retreats. I started working in a completely different area. So we honestly just like hadn't had the time. And I think as well at the start of the year, I was like planning on having a baby. I wanted to like bring the podcast into like conscious parenting. That's like what I really wanted to talk about and learn more about. And then that ended up just not unfolding the way that I thought it was going to unfold. So I just said to Brendan, I need a break for now because I need to like figure out, I feel like I'm creating a new identity within myself and I need to like figure that out before I'm like ready to then share again from like a place of authenticity when I'm still trying to figure out like where I'm at. So we'll definitely get back to it.
Mm.
Yeah, but I've had and I wonder if you can relate to this as well. But every single client I've had in the last few months, I'll see like a bit of a hole in their solar plexus, which is your self worth in your stomach. And it's like their identity or their roots this year have been stripped away, whether it's like beliefs from your family, friends, where you live, just any sort of your foundation. And it's like everyone's coming into like a rebirth or their actual authenticity. But during that process, it's like a tower moment and then trying to figure that out. So I'm finding a lot of people have kind of like a bit of a hole in their identity at the moment and they're trying to figure out who they are before the world told them who they were meant to be. So, yeah, can you relate to that
I
at all?
kind of think about that in relation to myself. This year has been a big change. So last year I moved to Darwin in October, I played footy, moved back to Melbourne in
Mm,
March. And I guess in relation to that, it felt like Melbourne wasn't home anymore. So my
mm,
route of like where I actually live, it just felt like I was there temporarily to work to get some shit done and then I'm off. Being back in Darwin, it felt like I had just been on like a business trip and now I'm more home. This feels more home than Melbourne, which is
mm,
crazy to think. And like I couldn't live here without if I wasn't playing footy because it's just all it is a small. It feels like a small town, but you're in a city, and everyone just drinks at parties, and I don't do that. So
yeah.
it's still out of line doing something that I enjoy, which is playing footy. Because it's so small, it's a good opportunity for me to network and grow the things I'm doing. So I feel like I'm building an identity for myself here. But I plan on moving to
Mm,
Sunny Coast in March. So it's definitely a big closing of cycles and creating new things. I think it's not just this year, and we'll see how this phone call goes after this that I mentioned about before. But yeah, it's a big change. Home for me has always been an interesting one because I'm not very close with my family. Like it feels like more of a chore going home than anything else.
Mm.
So like I have no real desire to go back to Melbourne to see family or to do anything really. Like it's more, I can't wait to go back home because my car's there and I can pack my stuff up and drive to Queensland. So yeah, but that's my own disconnection from feeling. I think that I'm just like, fuck everyone. I'm just gonna go and do me. But you know, I feel like there is a
Mm.
greater purpose, and that's why I need to go and make the change. Like I got offered a coaching position in Kalgoorlie for like lots of
Oh,
money,
cool.
but I was like, nah, I don't want the money. Like I want to go and I feel like I need to do the thing, so I'm gonna go do that.
Oh, good
Yeah,
on you.
thanks. Yeah, but I think the last couple of years has been the biggest lesson that chase what makes you feel good, not the money. Like the money will work itself out. You'll always
Yeah,
have enough. Do what lights you up. So just chase.
definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel that. I speak to a lot of
Yeah.
people about what this year means and the numerology of the big and nine, which is like a closing of cycles as well. And yeah, we'll see what happens in a very exciting time in my life. So that's good.
And I feel like, yeah, coming to the end of the year, people are, it's like you're planting new seeds for next year,
Mm.
which is exciting. But yeah, like moving forward with everything, yeah, created a breathwork event, which is on the 22nd of November, which is all to do with that. So, like, coming back to your self worth, your identity, like, based off like who you actually are and not what the world thinks you are. And there's so many things that, like, for years I'm like, oh, I want to buy a house. Like I really want to buy a house. And then when I start with it, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. It's just my
Mm.
parents really want me to do that. And or, people think, I definitely obviously want to get married and have kids one day, but sometimes we think we want all these things because society wants us to want them, or we're programmed to believe that. So um yeah, what I really want to help people move forward with is just like figuring things out inside of themselves instead of outside of themselves.
Yeah, I love that. I actually have a event on the 22nd of November. I won't be there. Like I'm just helping curate it with Men Over Matter. But yeah, it's going to be a 9D
Oh, yeah,
event,
cool.
and it's going to be a letting go. So interesting. Yeah, same time. I'm
Nine
actually having.
9D with the headphones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Who does that? So we're going to put something together for our community, and I'm running one up in Darwin, not breathwork, but just a men's event. So I don't know, something about that day. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really cool. Yeah, you're doing so well with your men's group, which is amazing. Like it's so nice to see that, and we definitely need more of that. I have like a lot more men come into my space now, which is so cool. Like to be honest, when I first had like a man book in, I was like a bit nervous. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I was just nervous. I didn't know how it was going to go out. I was just more comfortable with women. And I remember the first guy I had, he like cried during breath work, and he said, I haven't cried since I was 7. And he was just like so grateful. And then every month he was just booking in after that. He loved it. And his like partner was so happy that he was doing it. And she just said he's been so much better. And yeah, like healing men has like healed a part in me as well, which has been really cool. But yeah, I've noticed when men do breath work, most men will cry and women will get angry. And I feel like it's because it's like the emotion that we suppress. So yeah, it's like you'll see the opposite effect. And that's why I was nervous doing men, because I was like, what if they get really angry? Like I don't know how I'm gonna hold that space. But I've never had a man get angry. It's always quite the opposite, which is it's really, yeah, it's nice to see, and it's vulnerable and beautiful.
For sure, yeah, because for so often men just push it down, hold it down, and then breathwork's the opportunity for you to let it go. So I see it a lot too. Like at our retreats, it's not always that, but you see something that's pressing, but also lots of gratitude. That's another thing that comes up with the men is whether that's for their kids, for their partner, or because men just suppress emotions in general because they've just got to be a pillar of strength they don't actually allow themselves to feel anything. So one of the guys once,
Mm.
he just goes, I just realized how much I love my kids. He's lying there, it's dark, and
Aw.
we sees his teeth because he's just smiling like ear to ear. And it was the coolest thing ever. So yeah, I do think it's whatever you're resisting will eventually come out. It has to. And
Mm.
that also happens without breath work. That's just in general in life. Like that's why with men it can be so dangerous because they're avoiding their emotions or pushing them down. That can come out in a fit of rage. So better to do it lying down on a mat crying than do something you regret due to frustration.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And I
Mm.
think, yeah, whatever we suppress, like it will come out in some sort of way, whether it's through body pain or, just like getting angry or frustrated, or like your window of tolerance is small and it's just this build up in your body. Yeah, breath work, like sometimes I have ones where I'm crying and bawling my eyes out and it's, super emotional. And other times I have ones where I'm like, I've never felt so happy or connected to my body or free in my entire life. And yeah, you always just get what you need in that exact moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's so beautiful. And yeah.
Yeah. I love talking about this. Yeah, people don't realize that it's more than just mental, like holding onto your emotions and how that can show up in the body, and like gut issues is a massive one as well. Because if you're holding onto
Hmm.
emotions, you're holding onto shit physically, and that's why
Hmm.
it's yeah, you have the gut issues. So I
Well,
recommend.
speaking of gut issues, I developed gluten intolerance and dairy intolerance at 16. And it was probably like 6 years ago. I went to a kinesiologist and I didn't even know why I was there. I just walked in. I was like, I don't know, I have gut issues. Like, what can you do for me?
Mm.
And she goes, "Did you get bullied when you were 12?" I was like, "What the fuck? Like, do I just give like got bullied?" I was like, "How do you know that?" And like, I had completely like forgot about it, or hadn't even looked into it. And she said what that did, because I got so badly bullied, it left a hole in my self worth, which actually left a hole in my lining in my stomach, and holes which then have like developed into all these food intolerances. So yeah, I thought that was unbelievable. But
Gosh.
yeah, even with I got my tonsils taken out when I was 19. And if I look back, I moved to Australia from Ireland with an accent and I had a lisp. So, and I was dyslexic. So my ways of sharing my voice, I couldn't speak or read properly. And so now looking back, being like, oh, like there would have been so much in my throat that I was like not sharing, and then to get my tonsils taken out, it just all kind of makes sense. Like our bodies are showing us, what we're suppressing and what's being held on. It's really cool to look at it from that point of view instead of just like, oh, I got my tonsils taken out. It meant nothing.
Yeah, that's what you just said is like sparked another thing in me. So was it dyslexic and like the accent's one, but that's you are
And a
sort of
list.
born with that. But the lisp and dyslexia, were you born like so the lisp was like from birth and now you've like trained it out?
Uh, no, I started to develop it in primary school, and then it wasn't until I got braces it went away, and it was actually the shape of my teeth.
Right.
So I had like fangs up here, and they had like my parents had me as speech therapy, and nothing was working. And yeah, it was just literally my teeth, the
Mhm.
way that the sound was coming through. But yeah, being dyslexic, my parents didn't know I was dyslexic, and my brother is really intelligent, and I was in year 6 and he was in year 1, and he got a year 6 reading level and I got a year 1 reading level, and I was like, fuck this kid. But yeah, I just like couldn't read very well, and it wasn't until they didn't find out till I was in year 9, and they said it's so bad we don't know how she's actually passing school. So I would write like the second letter before the first. So if I was writing Sarah, I'd do A, and then I'd be like, shit, and then I'd go back and do the S. Or you'd read my work and I'd forget like is, as, like all the little words, because like my brain would think I had written it, and then you'd read it back and it would make no
Mhm.
sense. So I had to like really, really concentrate all the time. And I had help with it in year 11, where they would get me for like hours a day. I'd have to sit there with a pen and make myself go cross-eyed to like build the strength in my eyes.
Mm.
Um, and I had to, I don't anymore, but I had to read off colored paper because my eyes would focus on the white and not the black. So when I was reading, it just like looked like it was glowing to me. Um, so yeah, I got like really bullied for that, and like I didn't obviously feel like intelligent. So it was really cool coming into like this spiritual space. And I remember the first like mediumship class I went to, everyone was older than me and I was the youngest, and I was like one of the best. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This is like I'm back at school again, but like I'm like the good student. But I think it was nice to like be in a space and be like, okay, I'm not dumb. It's just I'm intelligent in a way that's not normalized or not shown on paper. Which is cool.
So I have theories, and like this is just from things I've read as well. So the
Mm.
dyslexia and stuff, and you said the list was it started later. Do you think that there's a moment like a childhood trauma or something that triggers that? Because I feel like dyslexia is more like a dissociative thing because your brain is like
Mm.
so scattered that it can't concentrate on that because it's focusing on like not concentrating because it's seen something that it doesn't want to see or it's experienced something that it can't handle. And it's like, it's like fried your
Mm.
brain sort of.
Yeah, interesting. I like got diagnosed like years ago with ADHD as well. So apparently they're linked, which would
Yeah.
make sense with like dissociating. And if I'm like in a state of fear or something upsets me, it's very easy for me to dissociate. Like I have to really actually be like, come back into your body. And I think that's why I've always been really good at astral projecting. Like I'm very good at actually leaving,
Yeah.
which obviously
That's,
is like a yeah,
yeah.
like a fight, flight,
That's,
freeze response. I like go into that.
yeah. Basically, all
Mm.
my friends that are good at that sort of stuff that are like very visual. I close my eyes, I can see the light from the ring light there. Like I can just see the ominous glow, but that's because it's through the skin. I can't actually like if I close
Yeah.
my eyes and say orange, I can't see an orange. Which I'm sure you can do.
Mm.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
all the and it's mostly women that I know that can do that is because they've had some sort of childhood trauma where they weren't safe in their body that they had to leave. So
Mm.
they're and not specifically dyslexic, but they're very arty and they're very good at drawing. But I've no one that's got dyslexia, ADHD. The other one's just ADHD, but they're both like, close my eyes, they're somewhere else. So do
Mhm.
you feel, does
Yeah.
that resonate with you?
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, like from what I've learned, is like, yeah, even with like autism, like, yes, things can be passed down through family line, but it can be like a trauma response as well. And I
Yeah.
think like an example is like if you're at home and you hear, you know how like you could hear like mum or dad's footsteps and you could know whose is who, and you're like, oh, this person's home, the dynamics are going to change. And it's like if you're constantly listening out to like everything else, it's like you start building that ability to kind of feel outside of yourself. So I think I definitely did that from a young age where I became like hyper alert. But
Mm.
also, a lot of people I know that are women in the spiritual space are diagnosed with ADHD. But I think, like, I'm, of course, like, I can't sit still or concentrate to read a book when there's like so much happening outside of myself, or I'm so connected to things that the normal person isn't. So maybe a doctor will diagnose me with ADHD, but like a higher perspective would just be like I'm highly in tune and sensitive to emotions. So yeah, I don't really like to label myself these days. I think
Yeah,
it's easy
I
for them
agree.
to send as well.
I think it's, and I say this to a lot of people, I ask this a lot of people, feel like it's something you can weaponize and use for good. And we spoke about that earlier with, I can't remember what we're talking about, but it's the same thing. Like the ability to be able to not completely concentrate, but to do multiple tasks at once and have lots of energy. That's a superpower if you can harness it right.
Yeah.
Versus sitting in school and reading a book that you don't give a shit about for an hour, of
Hmm.
course that's going to be a challenge. And of course it's not going to work in a conventional setting like that. But when you're trying to run a
Mhm.
business, a podcast, and do all these other things, like being able to be in multiple places at once is actually a really good strength.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people that are successful in business have like a diagnosis of ADHD, and it's because we're able to do multiple things at once. And I think when I like got diagnosed, especially with dyslexia, it was like, oh, like I'm not an idiot. Like there's actually like something going on there. And same with like ADHD. But then I got to the point where I was like, oh, I can't concentrate because I've got ADHD, or
Yeah.
no, I don't read books, dyslexic. So I definitely went, I think most people like it at the start and then it becomes an excuse. And I definitely went through that. And now I've learned like, it's just another way of learning. Like I listen to books and I can actually read quite well these days. Like people, because I've practiced at it. And I always get like, I can't meditate because I've got ADHD. And it's like, no, it's a practice.
Yeah.
It's like footy or whatever it is. You're not going to be good at it the very first time you do it. It's a practice. And once you find that ability and once you're able to drop in, anyone can do it.
Yeah. I think that I relate it all to the gym. Like it's all a muscle. And
Mm,
I feel like that's the same with like mediumship and that sort of thing. I think everyone has that within them. Just we don't
mhm.
work it out. We don't try and grow the muscle. We just go, yeah, not for me. I prioritize my energy elsewhere. I'll focus on something else. But I think everyone has it within them. It's just whether or not
Definitely.
like, you said that there's someone like stroking your hair in your room. Last couple of nights, I've been like, there is something here, but I've never lent into it. I'm just like, leave me alone. I'm going to bed. Like I can't do it
What side is it on? What side did you say, sorry?
of my
Left or right?
body.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just feels there.
yeah,
I'm trying to go back to it. I would say like here, like front left.
front and left. Because like normally, our left siders are feminine and our right sides are masculine. So when I have spirits come into for people, if it's normally like on the mother side, it'll be on the left, and the father side will be on the right.
Mm.
So that's why I asked that. But yeah, if
Yeah.
it happens again, message me and I'll look into it
Yes, mate, I will
and I'll
do.
see.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and there's definitely fear around it, hence the not looking into it. But it's the same thing. You just assume it's bad through everything you've seen on like movies and stuff.
Yeah. And I don't watch scary movies anymore because I'm like, it's just I don't need that in my mind at all.
I, yeah, I don't know about you, but I've always been afraid of horror movies, and there's always been a part of me that's felt an element of truth in it. Like I'm like, oh, that still feels too real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think as well, like with what I do for work is like I watched a movie and I'm like, but that's actually true. Like that can happen. Where
I can't watch movies in general. I
yeah,
like for that reason. There's my innocence
there
is
there was one thing I was at like a medium class with Brendan actually, and there was a heap of us there, maybe like 14 of us, and our mentor said there was this lady that was like having a really bad time, had bad energy on her. Could we all just do a healing on her and see what we get? And as soon as I tuned in, I saw, Stranger Things. Have you seen
yeah,
Stranger Things? You know,
yeah,
those like that big, like spider looking thing? That's what I saw. And I was like,
yeah,
holy fuck. And I just did what I felt like I needed to do. And then when we finished, Brendan looked at me and he's like, it looked like that thing from Stranger Things. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, we're seeing the same thing. So, like, it can't not be real. So, yeah, there's definitely I think there's obviously like different dimensions. There's ones below us and ones above us. And when, yeah, you're open to everything. So keeping yourself like grounded and safe in your body is like the most important part
mm,
so that you can experience here and higher. Yeah.
yeah. Did you watching Stranger Things? I watched it with a partner in 2022, and I was watching it just
Mm.
going, "That's real. That actually happened. Like that's gonna happen. They're
You know,
probably
it
trying."
did actually happen though. They were like experimenting on kids.
Yeah, so I
Have
was
you
like,
looked
"That's
into that?
MK47, MK Ultra." Sorry,
Yeah.
that's like I'm trying to tell. I was like, "Dude, that's real. Like that's legit." And I'm watching it like, yeah, they're just telling you stuff, and then but then how much do you want to believe about the rest of it? Because it's so cooked that it leaves you in
Yeah.
watching it. I was like, oh, so that could actually be happening like at some point. That's the scary
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Or like, did it
Yeah, I
happen?
think they have to. Yeah, I think that with all of that kind of stuff, they have to tell us in movies, and then we all just like sit there laughing, and it's like, nah, some of this is real.
Yeah, they're not allowed to lie. It's just hidden in plain sight. They tell you you just we're just too ignorant. But that's I can't watch movies. Like I don't
Yes.
know if you saw the Harry Styles movie that came out probably that year as well. Don't worry, darling. And it was like a modern Matrix. Like it was like set in the
Yes.
1950s and they were plugged in and I was like, real. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, it like really freaks you.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like and I'm watching the movie like commentating it and just thinking like I can't actually just sit there and watch a movie because I'm always trying to go, all right, what's the deeper message here? What are they trying to do to us now?
Mm.
So that's
Yeah, I'm very like that.
that's the part where I do sometimes envy my friends who aren't on this path because I feel like it'd be nice to just
Yeah.
go back to blissful ignorance. But
Hmm. I totally get that. And like in my spare time, like I obviously, do a lot of work on myself, but like I love trash TV. And like my partner's like, why are you watching that trash? I'm like, my brain actually needs it. Like I can't just like inform myself 24/7. Like I need a bit of trash sometimes just to unwind and we still have to be like here.
yeah, I'm bad on the doom scroll lately. Like last year, the last couple of years, I've just read shitloads of books, and now I'm just like, no, I just need to like veg
Mm.
out for a bit. I also
Mm.
don't know if
Yeah, I
that's
think
just
it's like important.
sorry.
I think it's important to have balance between
For,
all of it.
yeah.
Because yeah, I think as well, like when I first did breath work, like, and then I stopped drinking, I like stopped having fun as well. Like I didn't know how to have fun, so everything was just very serious and deep and emotional. And then like the last like year or two, like I've figured out like new ways of having fun. But yeah, it's like I think sometimes like I kind of needed that whole seriousness, and I also like was so into spirituality that I was somewhat airy fairy as well. And now I'm like finding this really good balance where I don't work from home anymore. And I'm like, oh, I can actually like be in my human and then go off and be this spiritual person when I want to. And I feel so much grounded because I have that like balance between being human and spiritual. But there was a stage where I like wanted to get like take me home with an alien tattoo on it. I'm like, no, like I'm just clarifying that I don't think I'm from here and like I'm still trying to escape through spirituality.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, love it. Well, let's talk about what you're doing now because I thought it was so cool to see that you did a retreat in Thailand that involved like Muay Thai, like fighting. And I was like, that's unbelievable and so awesome to see women doing it because they're, especially the women's, oh, like the spiritual space in general is like too feminine. So it's awesome to see women
Yeah.
being masculine and like taking their power back, but also like you have a good balance. So tell me about that. How's
Yeah,
that come?
thank you. So yeah, I started teaching my own sort of modality of breath work this year, which Spirit told me to do it, and I was so nervous. I was like, how am I going to do this? And now that I'm doing it, it's the best thing I've ever done. Like it's definitely teaching is the path I want to go down. So I've run 2 breathwork retreats this year. I'm teaching angelic breathwork, which is kind of essentially all the modalities I've ever learned and then my own wisdom coming through that and creating one modality together. But one of the girls that did the course, Jessica Coburn, started She Fights, She Heals. So she's gone to Thailand. She's from half Thai. She loves Muay Thai. And then, yeah, she's decided and loved working with me to bring that all together. And yeah, it was so incredible. Like the girls trained 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night doing Muay Thai. And then in between that, we would do like breath work, meditation, go have some fun as well. We did like zip lining, we went shooting, we rode the bikes, and it was an amazing, amazing week. So she's doing another one next year in March as well, which I'll be going to that as
Yeah,
well.
that's
But it's so cool to see, yeah, both that feminine and masculine energy and
Yeah, I feel like it's so far separated in society, but also in the spiritual space. I think we always talk about embodying one thing, and like most of it is, spiritual. Men are so in their feminine. They may have been like in a wounded masculine, and then they go like too far one way, and then the other, and then the opposite, and the same for women. And there's not too many
Mm-hmm.
spaces where you can embody both, which is like why it's a massive part of Men Over Matter. We do the breath work and the down regulating stuff instead of just like, hard man shit, because you need to have both balance. So yeah, I love it. It's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so, yeah, you're doing the angelic breathwork course. Where can people find that? Is it all in person? Is it, I know that you had a retreat space for.
I'm doing it all in person. I think I'm the only person doing it in like somatic breathwork teaching in person. I know
Mm,
in Melbourne, I'm possibly in Australia. I think a lot of people have moved everything online. I don't learn online at all. And I don't think it's safe to learn somatic breathwork online, from my opinion. I think because people are bringing up their emotions, I don't want to do somatic breathwork on you and you're sitting there crying for the first time in years and I can't hold you. So I it doesn't sit well with me. So that's not what I ever want to do. So I really wanted to bring something that's in person in a retreat space so that everyone's held the whole time that they're there, and then it's created a community. And um yeah, it's been awesome. I've got another one coming up end of February next year. And yeah, I've rented like a beautiful Airbnb in Mansfield to do that.
beautiful. Yeah, I think that's super important. We were having this discussion on Sunday night with the boys, Men Over Matter, about the 9D event. Because we were saying like, oh,
Mm,
you're not even hearing the actual facilitator of the event because you got the headphones on. And we were just saying like it's super important to set the space up beforehand and after to make sure that you've got them there, because you can get the
mm,
tracks and just lie at home and do it. But again, that feels super dangerous. And it's good that there's online
mhm,
training because people can learn and like reach out and it's going to reach more people. But I feel like for me in the coaching space, breathwork space, all that sort of thing, turning it online, which is a practice that's supposed to be about connecting with yourself and other people and creating community, it feels like it's turning into a money grab because it's mass produced and people
mhm,
can do it at their own time. And they're not getting like proper guidance where, what you're doing is hands on and you can physically be there for people, help people feel into what they need. That's super important. And if you're getting clients to go like, yep, just go do a training with someone, like get someone and just send me a video. It's like, how do you actually know? How can you feel into what's going on there? I feel like
mm.
yeah, that's just me personally anyway. Like I much prefer doing
I
stuff
agree.
in person, but yeah, I think it's important.
Mm. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I can promise I will never do that sort of work online. I think it's, yeah, really, really important. And I'm the same, like when I'm getting breath work done on me, like I won't cry until like say someone puts pressure on my heart, and then I'm like, oh, okay, like it gives you permission to like be
Yeah,
held. And yeah, you don't want to have like a big experience where you're going through your childhood trauma and then you're just left at home in your bedroom with your parents in the next room. And like it's really
yeah.
important, as you said, to like create that space of safety.
Especially, yeah, like that situation there. If that's the house or the space where that trauma's happened or those people are there, you've just opened Pandora's box and then now you're like, cool, I feel
Yeah.
right now and re-traumatized. That could have a very, very,
Yeah.
very negative effect on someone. So
Mm.
something to be wary of if you're looking
Yeah,
to.
definitely. And not everyone.
I was just saying, like for people watching, if you're looking at doing online training, something to think about.
Yeah, definitely. And as well, not everyone can do breath work. And, people are probably, it's like easier to lie online than like in person. For people that are like on anxiety or antidepressants, they can't do breath work simply because like the medication is blocking you from feeling emotions, which like
Mm.
maybe you need that to get through. Like I obviously was on benzos for a point of my life, and like I think I did need that at that point. and then obviously got off them. But if you're on medication, like it's a numbing thing, and then what I'm doing is pushing that emotion out of you, it's like contrasting and can actually like put your body into more of a harmful state. So yeah, not everyone can do it. So it's so important to have those conversations and in person. So if they can't do breath work, like they can do Reiki or just regulation breathing. There's other things that like there's something for everyone.
For sure. We'll look to wrap it up. Is there anything else? Oh no, what's just happened there? Ah, it's all right. I just clicked on something. Is there anything else you
It's
want to
frozen.
Is it? You got me?
Yeah, it's like kind of
Ah.
freezing. But no, that was amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Is there anything you want to let people know before we go, like where they can find you online? Anything else you've got coming up? You said you got an event November 22. Where can people find it?
So everything's pretty much on my Instagram, which is Sarah Louise Spiritual Healer. My website is Angelic Awakenings, which is my business name. So everything's there. I have my somatic healing event on the 22nd of November. Next year, I'm going to be running intuitive workshops, which I ran one this year, which was super successful. So teaching people to connect to their intuition so they're not messaging every psychic trying to get information, and they can actually like find it within themselves. So, and as you said, like everyone has that ability, it's just learning how to use it. And at my last one I had 14 people and everyone gave each other a psychic reading. So if I can teach that to people in 2-3 hours, everyone has that ability. So that's going to be something I'll be doing more of next year. And then if you want to apply for the somatic breathwork retreat, I have that in my bio as well.
Epic. Plenty of things for
That's
people to look
everything.
out. Love it. Well, yeah.
Thanks so
Thanks, Sarah,
much.
for joining me. Thanks for the conversation. Having these sort of chats is what lights me up. So, yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks heaps.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So, this is about to grow.